Welcome to part 2 of this exciting video that I have created for you. Video tutorial, I should say. Just to remind you where we were, I just finished showing you how to pre-comp a bunch of layers. And the reason we do that is to save space on the timeline and to make it easier to work, and also to sort of group a bunch of things together so we can move them together. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to do an approximation of the original that I showed you. And actually, maybe I should go back to the full comp so I can quickly show you again where we're headed. So I'm going to use the preview.
Slow down, bitch. Down here.
Okay. So once again, what's happening is the slow down bitch, which is exactly where it is on the beginning comp that I showed you. But get out of here is moved over to the left. And what happens is after it says get out of here, the text chunk, get out of here text chunk, moves to the right, kind of knocks over the slow down bitch. The slow down bitch is on a hinge, and it rocks back and forth. It's rotating. And the get out of here decides to shatter, and it falls to the ground in this totally illogical sequence where it brings the slow down bitch down with it. Okay, you can tell that I was really hurting for a creative idea when I created this. I actually had a much better one, but it would have taken me like an hour to do this audio, so I just went back to this one. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do, now I'm back to the beginning, I'm going to move this get out of here over to the, and just approximate. And by the way, remember to keep on every once in a while checking the title safe margins, because a lot of you in your last examples had things like hanging off the actual margins of the comp window. So I'm going to move this thing over, just sort of approximate it. And now what's happening, we still have our slow down bitch here. And you can, by the way, you can zoom up and down on the timeline, the layer bars, by clicking on this little thing in the bottom right. I don't really know the names of remember the names of some of this stuff, so sometimes I call them thingies or doodads or whatever. You can also zoom up and down on the composition window by clicking on this little zoom tool, and you can navigate through it by holding down the space bar and clicking in the window. Okay, so now we've got our get out of here. And I'm sort of a purist, so what I'd like to do is move the reference point. I call it the reference point, but it's actually an anchor point that determines where motion is going to happen on a particular object, or where the beginning of it is. So what I'm going to do is go to the pan behind tool, or the anchor tool, which is up in the toolbar, and this is the anchor point for the get out of here, excuse me. I'm going to put it in the bottom right just for the heck of it. And then what I'm going to do is, for the slow down bitch, since I want it to rotate from the bottom left, I'm going to also choose the anchor tool, or the reference tool, and I'm going to move the anchor to the bottom left. That way, when I go to rotate it, and let me just go to that layer and show you what happens if I press R, it's going to rotate from the bottom left, which is exactly what I want. So, and always remember to keep saving it. So I'm going to run through this again and try to find the point where it says get out of here. And that's when I'm going to start moving the get out of here to push over the other thing. So let's run through it. Okay, so right about 2 seconds and 10 frames it comes in. Okay, so get out of here. So let's go a little bit forward. Let's get out of here. And what I'm going to do at this point, I'm going to make something happen. So I'm going to change the position. And if you recall from the first class, and hopefully you've been watching some of the tutorials, there are shortcut keys to reach the transform tools. So P is for position. So what I want to do is change the position of the slow down pitch. So what I'm going to do is select it in the layer, and I'm going to press P, and sure enough, it expands the position. And I'm going to drop a keyframe on approximately, where am I now? I think it was what did I say? Let's see, get out of here. So maybe I'll do it around 1 second and 24 frames. So I'm going to drop this, a keyframe, and you'll notice it appears on the timeline. I'm going to go a little bit forward, and I'm going to knock that thing over by, you'll notice what I'm doing now is I'm going to scrub through these two components. The first one, the first number in the timeline for the position represents the horizontal movement. So if I go like this, of course I'm on the, isn't that nice? I'm on the wrong pre-comp. Okay, I don't want to do this over again, so pretend I didn't screw up there. Can you do that? Thank you. Okay, so let me go to the right pre-comp and press position. Not too much of a fool. Okay, so let me go back here, and I'm on 126. It doesn't have to be exact. And I'm going to activate the position by clicking on the stopwatch. And I'm going to move forward again. And as I said, the first number on the timeline, these are the these are the numbers, the way you can change the position. We can either change the horizontal movement or the vertical movement. Okay, and in After Effects speak, or in video speak, this is called the X and Y coordinates. So we're looking for we only want to move the X coordinate, the horizontal. So let's see. I'll go back to the first one. So I've moved a little forward. It really doesn't matter because we can adjust it later. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to move the horizontal position so it sort of overlaps the slow down bitch a little bit. I wanted to sort of jiggle a little bit, so I'm going to go forward a little bit more, and I'm going to add another keyframe, but I wanted to have the exact same XY coordinates. So what I'm going to do is I could take note of these numbers and just key them in if I wanted to, but I don't want to do that. So what I'm going to do is just add a keyframe by clicking on this little add or remove keyframe icon. It actually has its own row. Now on your computer, this column may appear on the left. But just so you know, when you activate one of the transform tools, a little diamond appears with two arrows to the left and right, so you can actually use these to navigate through. I could even add another one, which I may or may not use. Okay, so now what I have is 4 keyframes. The first one is where the animation is going to begin. The second one is where the animation bumps into the slow down bitch. And the third and the fourth are exactly the same. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to navigate to the third one. And I'm going to select this, and I'm going to move it back a little bit. Okay, so what happens now is when I play it back, it kind of looks like it bounces a little bit. Does it make sense? Who knows? But it gives it a little personality. Okay, so get out of here. All right, so now, and again, I'm saving it. So after it bumps it the last time, what I'm going to do is now I want to go to the second pre-comp and I want to make it rotate down. So I've clicked on the timeline on this comp and I'm going to press the R key because that's the keyboard shortcut for rotation. And I'm going to add a keyframe by clicking on the stopwatch. So I'm activating it. That's when the transformation is going, the keyframe alerts the timeline that a transformation is about to begin. I'm going to do kind of like the same thing I did with the get out of here, kind of play with the keyframes. So I'm going to move it ahead a little bit. And you can always change these later on. And I'm going to rotate, and you can see on the timeline, the rotation tool, there's two numbers. The first one represents the number of times the item is going to rotate. The second represents the angle in which the rotation is going to occur. So again, I'm on the second keyframe. I'm going to go all the way down like that. And now what I'm going to, so it goes like this. Okay. Maybe I'll even take it a little bit further. Okay. And then I'm going to go forward again and do the same thing that I did with the get out of here. I'm going to add a couple of more keyframes. Maybe I'll add a few more. See? I'm just moving the playhead, adding some keyframes. Do I have enough? I guess so. You can always add more later. Okay. So now what I'm going to do, maybe I'll move, watch what I can do with these, by the way. Let's say I want to move them all a little bit closer to the first one. I can click on the second one, hold down the Shift key, and grab them all. Maybe move them a little bit closer to the first one. Pretty cool, huh? And just zoom up a little bit too. So now I'm going to go in and do the same thing with the rotation. So with the first one, it's like this. So now I'm going to have, whoops, doing the wrong thing here. Move this over. I'm going to go to the second keyframe and deselect them. And I'm going to rotate up a little bit to maybe 130. So let's see what that looks like. No, wait a minute. Okay. So this goes to, let me go down to 138. The next one, I'm maybe going to go to 129. The next one, I'm going to go to maybe 132, 133. And this one, it's going to swing up. So it goes kind of like this. And again, you know, you can change that. It certainly doesn't look perfect.
Slow down, bitch. Get out of here.
Okay, so you can play with that, but at this point, maybe I'll even add another one. There. And at this point, what I want to happen is, when it gets to the last one, I want the get out of here to fall on it. So let's go back to that pre-comp, and let's add another position keyframe here. And then what I'm going to do is move it forward and have it drop. So that's going to be the Y coordinate now. Okay, now watch what happens. This might look a little screwy. So let's say, get out of here. No, it looks pretty good. Okay, so let's run it through again.
Slow down, bitch. Get out of here.
Okay, the timing is a little off because we want the get out of here to leave after the get out of here drops. So the get out of here is dropping too late. You want the get out of here to drop about here. So once again, I could pick up these two keyframes and move them over. Let's see. Still dropping a little too late. Oh, it's not these that are dropping late. This is fine, right? What I want is this thing to drop. So let's turn the position now. And I want to see the position and the rotation at this, oops. In case you're wondering what time it is right now. Okay, so slow down, bitch. Get out of here. So this, we want to start falling. And just whoop. So let's see how this one is. Get out of here. So now we need to get out of here to move over a little bit. So the get out of here is here, and the position is here. So this got to move over even a little bit more. Even a little bit more. This is kind of, yeah. Even a little bit more. And then there's a problem with the slow down bitch, and the problem is that we forgot to make these the position. Wait a minute. Slow down, bitch, get out of here. It should have fallen way before. And actually, let's see, this taps, and this thing should have fallen over here. Okay, so you can see this is a combination of just trying to get the timing right. So that looks pretty good.
Slow down, bitch. Get out of here.
Okay.
Slow down, bitch. Get out of here.
Of course, wouldn't it be nice if it were big enough so you could see it? Really fun working on this, doing this on a laptop, on a miniature screen.
Slow down, bitch. Get out of here.
Obviously, there needs to be adjustment, but I'm going to end this now. And you kind of hopefully get the idea. Don't forget to save it. And that's the end